What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the R2R Broadcast Network live coverage from the Qualcomm circuit. That's right, we're here at San Diego Naval Air Base for, of course, the street course on the NASCAR schedule and on the virtual iRacing schedules for many different NASCAR leagues, including the F.U.N Road to Pro Series. And this league will be the first one out of 3 in the next week that we will have on the R2R Broadcast Network at this exact track. Thank you for being here. My name is Zachariah Cartledge, going to take you through the entire night of action. Why don't we go ahead and kick off tonight's race? Playoff standings obviously so important. People still on that cut line in 16th on back. Ty Bostic continues his dominating streak with Kirby, Ward, Calvert, and Carr in your top 5. A street course, a very interesting street course. Anybody can come out and win this one. Over time, we'll find out who gets it done. And over to the main broadcast, you see 2 minutes left in practice, 2 minutes and 45 seconds to be exact. Let's go ahead and check out some of these drivers out there and see what their plan is for tonight's event. Top of the boards in practice is currently Stephen Kirby on the 109. The Philmar Toyota Supra has not gone to victory lane in quite a few weeks. Will that change tonight? And it seems like Ty Bostic is also not here tonight, so that really puts this whole win up for grabs. Brandon Fiedler got that win last week at Pocono. He's trying to go back-to-back, currently 10th in practice. He'll have a shot to show what's up tonight. We got William Caron, top 5 in the point standings for the Tommy's Fire and Safety Machine. And we do have Dash for Cash drivers tonight. Silly me, I forgot to add it, so let's go ahead and just add it ourselves. So our Dash drivers tonight, you can see, are from top 4 last week at Pocono. So that includes Ty Bostic, who's not present, Brandon Fiedler, Stephen Kirby, who's top of the boards, and Ryan Pittman in the 08. Pittman also not present, so as it stands, only 2 drivers from the 4 that were scheduled to race for the Dash for Cash are here this evening. So it seems like it's going to be Fiedler versus Kirby. Steve Mormon's here. He's currently 6th in practice. Watch out for him as the night goes on. Got David Watts, one of the regulars here in the 54 machine. This track brand new to the iRacing surface, so everybody's doing this for the first time, for the most part. And practice is now concluded. It's time for qualifying. And before we do that, a quick word from our sponsors, the F.U.N Road to Pro Series. They have new merch out, and we want to feature it on the broadcast. So side-by-side action continues as qualifying gets underway here from the Qualcomm Circuit 100. We'll see you in just a few minutes for the start of tonight's action. So as mentioned, drivers currently underway for qualifying, yet to make any laps, as of course takes a bit for these cars to go around the surface here at Qualcomm. About 2 minutes per lap is what we saw in practice. Stephen Kirby ready to set his first lap. To the line he goes. Let's ride on board. I've heard a lot of feedback from drivers, and it seems like one thing that has been clear across the board is how bumpy this surface can be. We'll see if that plays a factor tonight. About 12 and a half laps of fuel is what we have tonight. Just got word from one of the drivers. So remember, stage break is lap 15, so we will see some green flag pit stops here tonight. That will be pretty cool. Kirby about 3/4 of the way around this racetrack, continuing his lap here at San Diego. Where will he go? He'll be one of the first guys to set his time. Zach Ward the first across the line, seems. Actually, it's like a dead heat right now between these two. Look at that. You can put a blanket over these guys literally on the same portion of the racetrack. It seems like Zach Ward's a bit faster, though. He's flying. And he'll come to the start-finish line to decide his fate. And back around the final corner to that checkered flag. Drivers setting their times. Zach Ward top of the boards, a 2-minute, 18-second lap. 2:18.921. William Curran, 5/10 back. Can anybody top that number 5? Kirby had a lap that did not count. Looks like he hit something and invalidated that lap time. He'll have one final lap to get it done. He was fastest in practice. Can he find his way to the front in the final lap of qualifying? Ward is still the man of the hour so far, but still time to have somebody beat him. Top 6 have qualified. The rest have yet to set a lap time. 16 drivers in total tonight. Look how narrow that portion of the racetrack is. Wow. That is going to be a hard place to fathom. Marty Calvert 1/10 behind Zach Ward. Waiting to see where Stephen Kirby can go. This could be the make or break when it comes to who gets the pole tonight. And remember that Dash for Cash, Fiedler and Kirby are present, so they both will fight for that $10. Question is, who's it going to be? But first we got to find out where Kirby's going to start. Had a mishap in the first lap. Can he improve and possibly go top of the boards in his second? We're going to find out here momentarily. Across the final few turns to the checkered flag. Can Stephen Kirby top it in the front? Fiedler goes 7th on the board. And to the checkered flag. Huge bump off that final exit, but where will Stephen Kirby go? Crosses the line. And top of the boards in the 109 machine. So he's done. Now we got Daniel Green crossing the line in the 99 Fastenal Ford Mustang. A new paint scheme this week for him. He goes 4th on the board. 10 drivers have qualified so far. A few still making their laps underway with 2 minutes remaining in qualifying. David R. Galloway. What's going on, Mr. Buddy? Very long track. We'll see this over in full send next week as well on Wednesday night. Definitely a long track. A very long and bumpy circuit. I still can't fathom how tight some of these corners are, especially on some of these straightaways. And then some portions of the racetrack are huge, like this part. You can go 8 wide if you really wanted to, and then other places you can't even go 2 wide. 9 minutes done in qualifying. That means 1 remaining. David Galloway going to set his final lap here. Where will he go in the 51 machine? Off the final corner. Fate decided for Galloway. And he goes 10th on the board. Final car to set a lap time is going to be Justin Moyers with 40 seconds remaining. The metal yellow 11 Toyota Camry. Toyota Supra. Can he find his way to the checkered flag before qualifying concludes? Final few corners for the final driver in qualifying. Where will Moyers go? 10 seconds remain. He'll cross the line. And he goes P10. 4 drivers elect not to qualify. We are ready to go here from Qualcomm Circuit in San Diego. The F.U.N. Road to Pro Series live on the R2R Broadcast Network. It's time for the grid to kick off tonight's action. It's time to kick off the grid. Starting off tonight's action from the Qualcomm Circuit 100 with your starting lineup. Row 1 tonight, Stephen Kirby 2nd in the point standings, joined alongside by Zach Ward, top 5 in the point standings. Strong row 1, same goes for row 2. Marty Calvert has won before this season, and Daniel Green still looking for his first. William Carr in top 5 in the standings as well, alongside Steve Mormon, one of our underdogs. Row 4 is Bryn George and John Ledger, 2 guys still looking for their first win on the year. And in row 5, it's Brandon Fiedler coming off that statement win at Pocono last week. He's joined alongside by Justin Moyers. Row 6 is David Galloway, the newcomer, and David Baltazar, the veteran. And in row 7, it's Chandler Chabot and myself. My car got detonated by a nuke in pit road. We are not racing, unfortunately. And in row 8, it's Eric Olson and Philip Beaver. And in row 9, rounding out the field, it's the longtime racer, David Watts. Ready to kick off tonight's action. 30 laps is the total distance. 1 stage, that is halfway through at lap 15. From our knowledge, no cautions except for that stage break. Going to be very exciting to see what these drivers can do. And on the pole tonight is going to be Stephen Kirby. The points leader, Ty Bostic, is not here, so it could be a statement for him tonight to get it done and get the win. He's also fighting for the Tommy's Fire and Rescue Dash for cash. Bostic and Pittman not in attendance, so he will fight with Brandon Fiedler, last week's Pocono winner, who's starting back in 9th. And right on cue, 3, 2, 1, and the Porsche pace car rolls off. Buddy saying, I don't know anyone in this series like I do Full Send, but I wanted to see a race on this track. Yeah, I'm interested to see it. It's going to give a lot of perspective to see what Full Send's going to do on Wednesday nights. Very interested to see how this track runs, how the drivers are able to run on it. I'm an aviation nerd myself, so I love seeing all these planes that they have surrounded around the racetrack. It's pretty cool to see. I'm sure it looks even cooler in real life. Very long pace laps here, by the way. We'll be talking for a few minutes. 2 minutes and 15 seconds is the average lap time, so double, about triple that. That's about 6 minutes per pace lap. Maybe a little bit less than that, but still, very long pace laps here. Bryn George, not on the racetrack. Top 15 are Brandon Fiedler, who had the win last week, has to take the EOL, as they always do in the F.U.N Road to Pro Series. At a road course, that's going to be a big deficit. So the Dash for Cash drivers literally are starting first and last. We'll see who comes out on top. Obviously, one with the big advantage. Looks like the pace speed is crawling. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it takes a long time to get rounded up here. We're not even halfway in the lap yet. We're about I would say 3/8. Very long pace laps, but this is one of the first streams out of anybody on iRacing here at San Diego. So really, anybody watching this, probably it's your first time. We're up for a treat tonight. And of course, we want to thank Tommy's Fire and Safety for coming on board for the last 4 weeks in the Dash for Cash. This is the last week of that. On top of that, we want to thank all of our sponsors, including Gerald Country Collections and the Road to Pro Series itself, for always supporting the projects going on here. Look at how tight this portion of the racetrack is. I mean, that is just almost impossible to pass on. That's going to be a tough place to pass. That's for sure. This series has been around for about 4 years. Very, very long time coming league, and a lot of these guys have been there since the beginning. A very loyal, a very tight-knit community. I would even call it a club. It's really a club. And now we are officially halfway in the pace lap. And yeah, look at this. That last portion was so tight. Look how open this portion is. It's about 10 times the size. I'm even excited to see how this is going to race in real life. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of wrecks. Yeah, hopefully no one wrecks there. Definitely a roadblock. And in Full Send, we're going to have about 35 people compared to 16. So just imagine how that can go. Who is ready to kick off the Qualcomm Circuit 100? 75% into the pace lap. That means the safety car is soon to pull down. Led by Stephen Kirby and Zach Ward, 2 winners this year. Can they find their way back to victory lane tonight? Or will it be some underdogs like maybe Marty Calvert, Jared Green back there in row 2? A beautiful C-17 Globe Master in the background. Some Apache helicopters as well, some AH-64s. And here we go. Drivers ready to get action underway here from the San Diego street course, from the Naval Air Base in the surrounding areas. Literally racing on an active airport grounds. And here we go. Porsche safety car makes its way down. 15 competitors ready to take the green flag tonight led by Stephen Kirby and Zach Ward. It's the Qualcomm Circuit 100 entering the restart box. Green flag is in the air. And we are underway, led by Stephen Kirby in the 109 machine. Oh man, already a car on the wall. That's Zach Ward. Started second, already heavy damage on that 5 machine. There's no cautions here except for the stage break, so we are still going to maintain green flag action. Ward already down to 6th place on the racetrack. This place is tight. Got a nice looking aircraft carrier decked in the background. It's all Phil Maher up in the front. Kirby and Calvert control. Karin back there in 3rd. Top 4 under a blanket. Steve Mormon as well as one of these drivers back there in 4th. He'll almost nudge the wall there for a split second. Holds on to it nonetheless. The top 3 are gone. 109, 16, and 81 all fighting for the top spot. 4th place starting to fade, entering the distance. And there's that tight portion of the racetrack we were talking about. Very little room over there on that portion. Don't be surprised if we see some wrecks here throughout tonight's action. They're too wide in that center of the racetrack as well. You see Justin Moyers and Philip Beaver going at it. Just outside the top 10. Kirby continues his dominant streak up in the front. He's got his teammate Calvert still there. Same goes for William Karin back there in 3rd. Around the final few zigzag corners. And this is where the track really picks up the pace. You see how fast they go throughout this long straightaway. And throughout the final bus stop, right around until the final small turn that takes you back to that checkered flag. First lap is completed here from San Diego. Zach Ward with some damage on the left front. You can see that from the wreck he had, or should I say the wall tap he had very early on in this thing. Farther on back, some other drivers lagging behind. You see John Ledger in 9th, Brendan Fiedler. Farther back, side by side with David Baldassar back there in 10th. And some cars are wrecking in the back. Philip Beaver held on to it for a split second, but some guys behind him are now finally getting back to rolling action. They went around for a split second. That was Eric Olson. Up in the front, Kirby and Calvert pulling away now from 3rd place, William Karin in the 81. It's a Phil Maher dominance here 2 laps in. Some mid-pack battles. You see Jared Green fending off Zach Ward. He's all over that back bumper of Steve Mormon in the 26. Calvert continuing to stay in the tire tracks of Stephen Kirby. But Kirby is definitely pulling away a little bit. Last time by, Calvert 7/10 slower than the race leader. Yeah, some of the bumps are more like ramps. You can call it that. That's one way to call it. Almost like a Hot Wheels track. Karin maintains 3rd. You see Steve Mormon back there maintaining 4th over Jared Green. Right behind is still Zach Ward. That damage probably is not doing wonders for that machine. But he's already back approaching that top 5 conversation. Could be in 4th within the next lap or 2. Stephen Galloway and John Ledger going at it. that 7th and 8th. You see Chandler Chabot back there in 9th. Brendan Fiedler rounds up the top 10. You see Baldassar now lagging behind him in 11th. Farther back goes Justin Moyers around the final corner. He's lagging out a bit. And behind him is, of course, Philip Beaver and David Watts, who are currently 13th and 14th. Beaver set in the corner there for a second. Oh, he has a blown motor. And now he's going to explode it a bit more. Problems for Philip Beaver. His car is destroyed. His race is over. So one car down. 14 to go. Eric Olson is also down pit road in the 64, so it seems like two machines already with early troubles. And one car is stopped. John Ledger went around. Getting it back rolling is that 19 machine. Top three still somewhat connected. You can see that with Kirby, Calvert, and Karin. And then after Karin, it's about a 4-second gap between him and fourth, which is still Steve Mormon as it stands. Do they have fast repairs? Yes, they have one. One fast repair. So Kirby continues to be in control. Drivers behind him are still running slower lap times. Calvert by about a second. Karin also by about a second. 0.8 to be exact. And fourth place also heating up. You see Steve Mormon, Zach Ward, and Daniel Green still going at it. The top six relatively still connected. Zach Ward, make that Daniel Green in the 99. He overset that corner, had to take the access road. And Ty Bostic says, I love thunderstorms. Your points leader out from a thunderstorm issue. So his night over before it even starts. Kirby continues to pull away from Calvert. Now make that around 2 seconds between him and the 16. So Kirby trying to actually pull away, but as you can see, Calvert's actually approaching a little bit. At least he was for a split second there. Seems like he is still gaining actually on the 109, so maybe a Philmar battle for the race lead soon to come. But for now, Kirby still in control. Mormon still in control for fourth. Zach Ward, of course, now back in the top five following Jared Green's mishap. Man, keep calling him Jared Green. That's Daniel Green. We have a Jared Green in another league. Same last name. Same number, too. Dr. B saying sorry to whoever I got into at the end of lap one. Engine overheated and blew on my way back to the pits. Did not matter anyway. That's Philip Beaver in the 60. Who came out early. I believe that would have been Eric Olson, who's now one lap down in pit road. Calvert sliding off the exit of the corners. You can see how loose and how ragged on the edge these cars can be. And Calvert now falling down to about 2 seconds. Originally, he was down to 1 second, but now he's lost about a second again on the race leader, Stephen Kirby. So your top five is as follows. Kirby, Calvert, Karin, Mormon, and Ward starting to spread out here from the Qualcomm Circuit 100. 11 laps remaining here in Stage 1. Can the 109 of Stephen Kirby continue his dominating streak, or can Calvert run him down? Gonna find out as we go side by side on the R2R Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the R2R Broadcast Network. Live coverage here from the Qualcomm circuit in San Diego from the Naval Base. Qualcomm circuit 100 from the F.U.N Road to Pro Series. 9 to go in the first stage. Still led by Stephen Kirby, holding on over Marty Calvert, who's his teammate 1.5 seconds back, but other than those two, it's about an 11-second gap between second and third. Let's go through the field, shall we? First place, Stephen Kirby, up to 7 laps led throughout all 7 laps of action so far. Right behind him is his teammate Marty Calvert, still lurking in the background. And then a big drop to third, which is William Curran, who has Steve Mormon in fourth all over his back bumper. Mormon knocking on the door of a podium. Zach Ward, despite even more damage on that race car, now on the left rear, maintains fifth with Jared Daniel Green right behind in sixth. Brandon Fiedler back there in seventh, up a few spots, and same goes for Chandler Chabot up 7 spots back there in eighth. Bryn George following some mishaps earlier, he's up to 9th. Good breakaway and back up into forward that he goes, because he was originally not even scheduled to start this race. Started about 30 seconds after the leaders crossed the start-finish line. David Galloway currently in 10th with Justin Moyers in 11th. John Ledger in 12th with David Baltazar back there in 13th. David Watts in 14th. And Eric Olson, final car in the race, back there in 15th. So it's still the Calvert and the Kirby show. Call it the Fillmore show up in the front. And as it seems, nothing's going to change to this point. And that's the beauty of road courses. You can call it a beauty, you can call it anything but a beauty. Either way, it's definitely a spectacle here at the road courses when everybody gets spread out, and it's all based off of the pace of the driver itself, who has the best pace out of these drivers. And right now, by far, it's definitely Kirby and Calvert. We are going to see some green flag pit stops, though, before the stage ends, and Ward's going to be the first one to take a full tank of gas. He is down pit road in the 5 machine. Checking out Kirby, you can see he's below halfway. Still about halfway to go in stage 1, so yes, we will have pit stops. Pit stops guaranteed in this first stage. Question is, when will they take them? Zach Ward out of pit road, he falls down to 9th. That's the benefit of being up in the front. You can pit and still be near the front of the field. Zach Ward only loses 4 spots in the process of his entire pit road cycle. Riding on board Marty Calvert as he tries to continue and run down his teammate Stephen Kirby. So Galloway had his front crinkled in. Looks like he got into some sort of incident. His right front's actually destroyed. He can't even steer that race car. That's going to be an instant pit road stop for that 51 machine. Luckily, he's not far away from pit road, but as you can see, it's very hard to steer that machine. Has to make sure he doesn't hit anybody else in the process. Seems like he'll get it around in one piece, but obviously not the night that Galloway was hoping for halfway in. As I was mentioning, though, Calvert and Kirby continue to dominate, but Calvert is still lacking behind the 109 machine. They just passed David Watts, who's lapped for the first time tonight. Further back, you see a three-way battle for third, fourth, and fifth. You see Karin, Mormon, and Green going at it. So far, they haven't changed any positions, but obviously each of these guys have the pace to stay up with one another, so eventually we could see that happen. One Chevy, one Toyota, and one Ford. Some battles back for sixth as well. You see Zach Ward holding on. Behind him, not too far behind, is Chandler Chabot up 6 spots, and Brent George. That 66 could have some pace up in the front. Maybe after that stage break, get some track position, get everybody bunched back up. He could be a dark horse candidate for this win. But still, a lot needs to go in his favor for that to happen. Up 6 spots, though, easily the biggest mover so far in that 66 machine. And William Karin dips down pit road. He'll be joined by Daniel Green. They are now ready to make their pit stop here in stage 1. We'll see how much they fall behind. Obviously, they will get it back unless somebody is saving enough fuel. We saw Chabot actually for a second there before we cut away from him. Let somebody by. I think that was Bryn George. Maybe he's saving some fuel till the end. Let's see. You can see the bars. He's about 1/4. You go up to Kirby, and he's a bit lower. Wow. So, hey, maybe Chandler Chabot is saving enough fuel till the end. You never know. Karin and Green now making their way out of pit road. 81 first, followed by the 99. And the question on all of our minds is, when will Kirby and Calvert pit, and what will they take? As it stands so far, all 15 drivers on the racetrack, when it comes to them pitting, Zachary Ward pit 2 laps ago, he took 2 tires. Bryn George pit 8 laps ago, he only took repairs. You see Karin and Green both took 4 tires. Same went for Brandon Fiedler back there in 9th. So, obviously, it seems like 2 or 4 tires is the call. We'll see if Kirby and Calvert think the same way. If I'm Calvert, I'm so far ahead of 3rd, I may want to throw a strategy out there. Maybe take no tires, let Kirby take 2 or 4, get some track position on the 109. I think that could be a golden opportunity for Marty Calvert. What's the worst case scenario is, oh, maybe the tires fall off too quickly and you fall back to 2nd, which is where you would be anyway. If I'm Calvert, that's exactly what I would do. But of course, 1st place is also his teammate, so maybe they want to work together. Either way, Kirby does not come down. Does Calvert come down? Same thing. No, he does not. Mormon also yet to pit, 20 seconds back. 26 has yet to win this season. Could he find a way forward tonight? Seems like he's a fringe top 3 driver, but obviously far behind 2nd and 1st. Following the stage 1 reset, though, all could change. And the leaders are currently on 5 laps to go. Did Marty Calvert just spin? Yes, he did. Marty Calvert spun, and his engine has blown. His car is destroyed. What in the world happened to the 16? Let's go back and see what happened. Going back to check this replay. What in the world happened to Marty Calvert? And that's all going to settle this stage 1 victory to Stephen Kirby. Oh, lock the brakes up straight in the right front. That'll do it. And yeah, his car is destroyed. Falling now down to 3rd. He'll continue to drop more and more spots. He's not even halfway through this lap. That is a long trip until he makes it back to pit road. And now Kirby has a 20-second lead, and pit lane entrances have closed. A bit curious there if what will happen if these guys have to come down pit road. I'm assuming they will have to. But pit lane entrances have closed for the leaders. Typically that'll happen with 2 laps to go in each stage, but we still have 5 to go here, so I'm not really sure why they would close it, but I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's if anybody even comes down following the closing of the pit cycles. Stephen Kirby's approaching pit road. We'll see if he comes down this time by. Definitely low on fuel, that's for sure. And he will stay out. So Kirby stays out. We have another wreck in the mid-pack. Marty Calvert has decided to park his race car. Unfortunately, could not make it back. Oh, and Bostic says stage is at the end of lap 13. Well, that's new news for me. On the pamphlet I got, it said lap 15. So that's better news. Lap 13, and that means that the drivers who have stayed out will be able to make it till the end, and this time by, Stephen Kirby will see the white flag in stage 1. Dominant stage 1 so far, just putting on a clinic following Marty Calvert's absence. Exactly almost to the T, 2 seconds faster than second place Steve Mormon. And Zach Ward on 2 fresh tires. Also, well actually no, he's running 2 seconds faster, so obviously tires will be a big thing here maybe later down the road. But obviously when you're 43 seconds behind, make that 48 seconds behind that Zach Ward is to the race leader. Still won't do much. Greg Stone asking Ty Bostic if the power is back on yet. Zach updated the links for the stage and race in the announcements tab in the Discord. Appreciate that. Yeah, I was looking at the, oh, look at that. I didn't scroll down about the two inches of virtual text that Zach Ward posted yesterday night, and I was looking at the original post. That's what'll do it. That is what will do it. And tell you what, originally this race was 40 laps, now it's back down to 30. I think that was a great call from Zach Ward because these laps are long. Very long indeed. And Stephen Kirby in the wall for a split second. He'll see the white flag in the first stage. And you could even tell how easy it is to blow a motor here. You already saw with Marty Calvert. Don't count out anything. Doesn't matter how much you're leading by. All it takes is one turn where you lock the brakes up and your whole car is destroyed. So really, never count out anything until this race is completed. New track, a lot of mistakes can be made. A lot of mistakes already have been made. Where's the power out at? Where's the rain coming from? Let's see. Checking out the radar. Where's all that rain at? I think it's raining here too, but not as bad. Yeah, we have rain here as well, but like I said, not as bad. Oh man, Atlanta's getting poured on. Macon's getting poured on. Charlotte's getting poured on. Bristol's getting poured on. So I'm assuming y'all are from Georgia or North Carolina or Tennessee, one of those 3 states. You're getting poured over there right now. Okay, I'm coming to join you. That's funny. That's funny. No shame in the chat tonight. And for Stephen Kirby, halfway through the final lap in stage 1. 26 seconds between him and the 26 in second of Steve Mormon. Funny how things work out. Rockingham, North Carolina. Yeah, that'll do it. Y'all got scattered thunderstorms over there. You're in my dream area. That's where I want to move here the next year. Maybe I'll be in your neck of the woods. And coming out of the final few corners, about 40 seconds remaining in this lap. Look how slow Kirby is going. Is he out of fuel? I think Stephen Kirby's out of fuel. Uh-oh. Oh, well, the yellow flag waves anyway. Tell you what, that was going to be bad news. I thought he ran out of fuel, but it seems like Zach Ward was saying, okay, we're throwing the caution. And with that being said, Stephen Kirby picks up the stage win. So Stephen Kirby easily picking up the stage 1 victory. He's also fighting for that Tommy's Fire and Safety Dash for cash, which he is easily winning over Brandon Fiedler. Yep, Greg Stone saying that he'd be fighting with Kirby if he was in the race. I think Bostic would be in the same scenario, but for now it's all Kirby up at the front. Halfway through, just about, here from the Qualcomm Circuit 100 at San Diego. Live coverage continues side by side on the R2R Broadcast Network. We weren't kidding about these laps under pacing. I swear, that was like 10 minutes. But we are back. Qualcomm Circuit 100. San Diego Naval Base. And following a grueling 10 or so minutes of pacing from this very, very long surface, we are about ready to go. About halfway through the final lap of pacing before we have the rest of the race completely under green flag conditions. Stephen Kirby, who won the first stage, joined alongside by William Karn. Marty Calvert still in the show back there in 10th following that engine exploration that is once again using a fast repair for. That's why he's still in the race. He's back there in 11th. Chabot back there in 10th. Mormon back there in 9th. So some familiar faces up in the front, but there's also some faces that we saw earlier in the top 5 in the rear of the field as well. Zach Ward also back there in 12th. He's actually still in pit road. Halfway through this pace lap, and then we'll kick him back off for a grand total of 13 laps of action until the checkered flag from the Qualcomm Circuit 100. Obviously, Stephen Kirby is the underlying favorite. By a long shot, I would believe. We're going to see if he can continue his dominant streak, which had about a 30-second gap between him and second place. Trying to bring that home to the checkered flag tonight. Going to find out here. Starting in about a corner, about 5 corners and a half. We'll enter the restart zone and kick him back off for the rest of tonight's action. Who's y'all's pick to win? I think Kirby's the favorite by far. I would say if this was a betting market, maybe about 96%. Maybe Karn has a shot, but everybody else who we've seen even have a close shot has been plagued in the rear of the field. You got Ward in 12th, Calvert in 11th, Chabot in 10th, and Mormon in 9th. And of course, Fiedler, the Dash for Cash rival of Kirby tonight, is back there in 8th. So really, not a lot of competition for the 109 machine to have. And Greg Stone and Ty Bostic scratching their heads saying, hey, I wish the weather wasn't so bad right now. Maybe I'd have a shot at this too. Almost there. Peeking closer and closer around every corner to that restart zone. Tell you what, is Fox doing the race this weekend? If they are, they're going to love that. All their commercial breaks. They can have about maybe half the entire race be under commercials with how long these pace laps are. But here we go. Off the final bus stop and onto the final straightaway. Stephen Kirby and William Karn here to lead the 15-car field back to green flag action. Can the 109 seal the deal, or does somebody else have something planned in the back of their minds? 14 laps ago, entering the restart box, green flag is back in the air. And no surprise, Stephen Kirby pulling away with that race lead. Can anybody challenge with 14 laps to go? If we're going to see any challenge, it's going to be within the next 1 or 2 laps, because once you lose enough time here, you're not catching any ground up from there forward. You see some drivers already making up some ground. Zach Ward up 2 spots back there in 10th. Kirby in control. Karn, though, saying, hey, don't forget about me. Karn was one of those 3 cars battling originally with Kirby, but eventually he fell back to around 35 seconds after 13 laps in stage 1. Bryn George, who started 30 seconds off the pace, he's currently in 4th. Doing a good job. Some mid-pack battles. You see 26 of Mormon try to get to the inside of Fiedler. That's going to send Fiedler deep. Going to turn around the 19 of John Ledger. We have a small parking lot incident off of turn 11. So Ledger definitely out of the race now when it comes to winning this daggone thing. He's about 20 seconds behind. Got William Karn still 8/10 behind. Can he find a way to run down that 109 of Stephen Kirby? "12 cars on the lead lap, 2 cars 1 lap down, 3 cars out of the event entirely." Karn is doing a good job keeping up with that 109. The question is, can he keep up for 14 laps, and can he eventually make that pass on the race lead, which we have not seen at all tonight under green flag conditions. Tell you what though, Karn is not letting up. I think he had a faster lap time that time by 2. Yeah, by about 3/10 he was faster than Stephen Kirby. Could we see our first pass for the race lead? Very tight, very technical racetrack. If you want to make a move, it's got to be precise. And if it's not precise, it could send around yourself and the other competitor and ruin your entire night of action. You also can't lose time, which currently Kirby's pulling away up to a second now. There's definitely some turns Karn is better at, and there's definitely some turns Kirby is better at for sure. .1 seconds now down to 9/10 between Karn and Kirby, entering turn 15. It seems like Karn has more of a pace near the end of the laps, and Kirby has more of a pace near the beginning of the laps. That's so it seems, but Karn is now falling back tremendously. Kirby's now increasing that race lead to 1.6 seconds. You know what would have been pretty cool is if iRacing made a cool little motion where they had some planes taking off in the background before the race or during the race, like that C-17. Imagine that just taking off in the background. That would have been pretty cool. I'm sure it's not easy closing down and making a whole circuit out of an airport. And I'm pretty sure it was not easy to scan this and put it on the virtual surface either. That time by, Karn was significantly slower. Originally, he was about 3/10 faster than Kirby, and now he's about 1.5 seconds slower. Definitely a big difference, and as Buddy mentioned in the chat, all it takes is one hiccup. We saw it earlier with Marty Calvert. You know, he was running second, doing great. He was about 20 seconds ahead of third, and what happened? He locked the brakes up, destroyed his right front, and his race was over. Still struggling 8 seconds behind in seventh. There's no saying that can't happen to Kirby, or Karn for that matter. Can never count out anything here at San Diego. So we have had a street course on a downtown area, and now we're having a street course on an airport / naval base What's the next place we could have a street course at in the NASCAR realm of things? Really, I'm not entirely sure when I'm thinking about it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like a massive stadium or something? I'm not sure. Obviously, we've done stadiums before, like LA Coliseum, but I'm talking like, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, they're making all those data centers. Maybe we can make a street course on one of those 5-mile wide data centers. That would be kind of funny. Definitely not a popular thing. Obviously, San Diego, a mountainous area. Pretty cool to see parts of the racetrack. You can see in the background just a bunch of mountainous houses. There you see all of them right there. Very well, nicely put together by the iRacing team. I'm sure it takes a lot of time to make stuff like this. With 11 laps to go, tell you what, Karin was a bit better that time by. Still slower than the race leader, but actually, scratch that. No, he was 2/10 faster, so I'm seeing a trend. Sometimes Karin's faster, and sometimes Karin is slower. The only difference is when he's faster, it's only by a few tenths. When he's slower, it's by multiple seconds. So really, he's got to find a way to get faster. He's still going slower than the race leader on an average. I think it would be pretty cool if we brought street racing to Orlando. If you have ever been to Orlando, you know that we are full of interstates. Massive interstates with all these windy little off-ramps that lead to more interstates. I think it'd be pretty cool if we had a street course on a highway and, you know, merged onto other highways and then maybe merged onto and then took an exit and all of a sudden you're in Disney World. I think that would be insane. Obviously, that would never happen. Maybe on the virtual side of things, we can make something like that, but obviously that would not happen. But just imagine a street course on a highway, and then you take an off-ramp into Disney World or Universal, and all of a sudden you're racing right in front of Epcot. I think that would be really cool. In the wall, a second there for Karin. We were talking about this in the Full Send podcasts a few days ago. How you really can't turn on autopilot here at the naval base, no pun intended, with it being an airport, of course. The second you start zoning out, the second you start thinking about other things, is also the second you can make that inch of a mistake and ruin your night completely. And obviously the leaders had not done that yet, but it could still happen at any point. I get a bit anxious how close to get to those tire barriers at the entrance of pit road there. But obviously these guys know what they're doing. For the most part. I mean, I'm sure they could accidentally hit something like that. Well, checking out the battles in the mid-pack, we have some of them. We got Marty Calvert trying to get back in the top 5. He's right behind Steve Mormon, and he'll go to the inside entering turn 13. And he'll take it. Whoa! Calvert straight in the same place. He destroyed his right front earlier. Fortunately, this time he did not blow his motor, but I'm sure that is not going to be fun driving that car now. Wow. Oh yeah, that's right, Mexico City. I forgot about that place. So Karin now behind by 3.2 seconds. And that gap is improving every single time. Check out the ticker. Last time by, the only car to set a 2 minute 21 second was Kirby. Fastest other than a 2:21.3 was a 2:22.1 set by Zach Ward in 6th. And coming up this time by, 9 laps to go, Kirby is continuing to put the snooze fest domination on this field. Out of 21 laps, he's led all 20, coming up on 21. But as we mentioned, anything can happen. Make sure to keep your eyes keen on this 109 in case he makes a mistake. Our final commercial break, side-by-side coverage continues from the Qualcomm Circuit 100 live on the R2R Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the R2R Broadcast Network, continuing the live coverage from the Qualcomm Circuit 100, a part of the San Diego Naval Base here from the F.U.N Road to Pro Series. Battle is on for the P2 position. Marty Calvert versus William Karn, about 10 seconds off the pace of the race leader, Stephen Kirby. It's definitely a what-if night for Marty Calvert. If he did not get this damage, could he have fought with his Fomar teammate of Kirby for this race win? Back up the second he goes, but still 10 seconds off the pace of that 109. Definitely way out of striking distance, and you can see how loose that car machine is. And the rear of that car also has some heavy damage. So definitely working with some issues. Let's go ahead and go through the field, though, with coming up on 6 laps remaining this time by. Stephen Kirby continued to a dominating streak with Marty Calvert back up to second. William Karn back there in third, and how about David Baldassar up to fourth? He's up 8 spots. Biggest mover of this race. Britton George back there in fifth, rounding out the top 5, and then we have Daniel Green and Zach Ward battling it out for 6th and 7th on the racetrack. Steve Mormon back there in 8th with Chandler Chabot in 9th. Brandon Fiedler rounds out your top 10, last week's winner at Pocono, and John Ledger currently in 11th with Eric Olson behind in 12th. David Watts in 13th rounds out the cars on the field, and Galloway, Moyers, and Beaver, all 3 of them, they are out of tonight's event early with their own sort of issues when it comes to making their way around this surface. So this time by, 6 laps remaining for Stephen Kirby. He is just putting on a clinic on this field. Absolute domination, but as Buddy mentioned earlier, anything can happen late in the race when it comes to him making his own mistakes. So obviously he's the least pressure out of anybody, but never count out anything until he reaches that checkered flag with 1 to go. And Kirby, by the way, once he picks up this win, if he does, it will be a big momentum boost for him. Of course, off track is the 22 first in the championship. That's Ty Bostic with those internet issues tonight. Zach Ward currently 3rd in the point standings and 7th. You see Calvert and William Karn the 2nd, 4th, and 5th in the point standings. They're 2nd and 3rd on the racetrack. Bostic had about a 100-point gap between him and Kirby. That will decrease a little bit tonight. Obviously won't make Bostic fall out of that first place spot, but it'll definitely keep Kirby in contention. It seems like it's a Kirby versus Bostic type of year. But Bostic's obviously been more dominant so far. But can Kirby rally it back with a momentum booster win here tonight at San Diego? Back-to-back road courses, of course, Sonoma following this, so that's maybe the momentum that Stephen Kirby needs. And this time by, he'll see 5 laps to go. 1 car is around. That's Eric Olson in the 64. Gets it back rolling. Front nose with some damage. And this time by, coming up on 5 laps remaining for Stephen Kirby. Continuing his dominant streak. He has led every single lap. Hasn't even cycled out that race lead once all night long. 8-second lead over Marty Calvert. 18-second lead over William Karn. And 35-second lead over 4th, which is David Baldassar. This is a clinical race for Kirby. A fighter jet versus a Cessna 172. And you can see the distance, how far away each of them are away from each other. Big difference between the field tonight. And 5 laps remaining this time by from the Qualcomm Circuit 100 for Stephen Kirby. And there's the gap. You see Marty Calvert back there in second. Ty Bostic says power back on just in time for the end of the race so he can watch from his couch and wish he was in the number 1 spot instead of on the couch. Watch the race with Kirby in the number 1 spot. Kirby continues to show why he is the road course ace of this league, I would say, by far. At least the road course aces that are surrounded by him are not in the field tonight. Maybe Marty Calvert, but of course he had that mistake. Kirby's made no mistakes all night long. Very big Mobile One warehouse in the background. That is, what is that, a aircraft hangar? That's huge. No idea what that was. Looks pretty cool. This section of the racetrack reminds me of Mexico City when you enter the stadium section. I think that's what Buddy was talking about. Yeah, all of this area looks like the stadium section of the Mexico City racetrack, which is one of my favorite parts of any racetrack. I think that area looks really cool when they had it up like that. Some battles in the mid-pack, but really nothing too close together. You see Baldassar and George are right there. Other than this battle and the battle right behind between Ward and Green, this is really all the battles on the racetrack. Everybody else is spread out by at least, 2 or 3 seconds amongst each other. And the gap between Calvert and Kirby is actually decreasing. You see Calvert is gaining time, down to 7 seconds, but the question is it too late? I mean, he's only running about 5/10 quicker, at least that's what he was last time by. He obviously needs more than that. With 4 laps to go, he needs at least, a second and a half per lap, and he just destroyed that wall off the final corner, so that's not going to help one bit. And just like that, he's once again running slower by about a second and a half. So under 4 laps to go for Stephen Kirby. The Qualcomm Circuit 100, more like the Kirby 100. The Kirby Snooze Fest 100. This guy is putting on an absolute show. But again, it could always change with one small mistake. So don't keep your eyes off that camera until he reaches the checkered flag, where anything can happen until then. What a momentum booster here for Kirby. I mean, to win by this much, to dominate by this much, it's got to feel good. It's got to feel good. And for everybody else, it's a big punch in the face. Like, wow, I really need to figure out something because I am a lot slower than that race leader. This time by, he'll see 3 laps to go here from San Diego. Marty Calvert still gaining, but 7 seconds behind. It's just too far back to really put a question mark on that 16, making his way back up in the race lead. So it's 3 laps to go for Stephen Kirby. Calvert once again faster that time by, not by enough to gain, but it's by a second. With that pace, he'd reach him in 6 laps. He needs to cut that time in half. He needs to be about 2 seconds faster with 3 laps to go to run down that 109. Which it could be possible because he's already gained a second. Hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen. Calvert has come back from about a 15-second gap. All of a sudden, he definitely has some pace, but is it too little too late? I think it is still, but Calvert definitely running him down. Either way, if he does not win, it would definitely be a what-if night. That's for sure. This time by, Stephen Kirby sees 2 laps to go. Calvert's down to 4.6 seconds. Gaining, but I keep saying this, not gaining enough. You can see Calvert in the background, but again, Kirby's out a big enough advantage where at this point, all he has to do is bring up 2 more clean laps, and he will, without a doubt, go to victory lane tonight. And Stephen Kirby goes to 2 laps to go. Calvert's down pit road. Are we going to run out of fuel? Whoa, watch out. Hold your horses. Calvert's out of fuel. Kirby's almost out of fuel. Kirby's going to have to pit with 1 lap to go. That could change some things. Forgot about that. Calvert came down. Kirby's gonna almost be guaranteed to come down. He's running on red. Uh-oh. Is somebody saving enough fuel? Let's check out the bars. Karin, around the same. George. Uh-oh. Watch out. Brent George has half a tank of gas left. But he's 33 seconds back. But tell you what, Calvert pit, and he fell about 5 seconds behind Bryn George. How far was Calvert behind Kirby? Also, about 5 seconds. Will Kirby pit this time by? That's the question. If he does, and if Karin pits, Bryn George could seriously have a chance at stealing this win. I don't see a way they could hold on 1 more lap. If we were seeing Calvert pitting with 2 to go, I don't know how Kirby would make it 2 more laps. Is there a possibility for Bryn George to steal this win? It's all going to be decided depending on if Kirby and Karin come down this time by. Approaching the white flag, Kirby is running on literal fumes. There is almost no way he makes it 1 more lap. We're going to find out very shortly if he comes down pit road. Here we go. This is the deciding factor of the race. Will Kirby come down this time by? Approaching the final bus stop. Here we go. Approaching pit road. Will he make his stop? Or will he stay out for the white flag lap? He stays out. Kirby thinks he has enough fuel. White flag in the air. Kirby is ahead by a sizable margin. And Buddy was making up a very good point. There's a good chance that Calvert was gaining time, not because he was faster than Kirby, but because Kirby was simply saving fuel. And it seems like that is exactly what is happening. Running on literal fumes, but he still has just a smither of red left in the tank. Is that enough to make it about a half of a lap to the checkered flag to win the Qualcomm Circuit 100 and lead every single lap from green to checkered conditions? What a day from Stephen Kirby. Dominant day, absolute clinical performance. putting everybody else on high alert at these road courses that he is boss. And he's about to reward himself with that victory. All he's got to do is bring it around. A few more corners, half of a lap to go for the 109. Around the final few tight portions of the racetrack onto the more wider section of the street course. 3/4 of the way into the final lap for Stephen Kirby. 16 seconds, the gap between him and William Karin. Few more corners remain until he sees that checkered flag and leads every single lap from the Qualcomm Circuit 100. Around the final bus stop, Stephen Kirby, the Fillmore 109 Toyota Supra. What a day from this race team. Off the final corner, nobody in sight. Stephen Kirby from San Diego will go to victory lane in the Qualcomm Circuit 100. And that's how you dominate a race. And now he'll make the long cycle around the racetrack to the restart zone and burn it down from San Diego. Let's go ahead and talk to your winner as he does his lap around. We got time to talk. This track is very long. Stephen Kirby winning in dominant fashion tonight from the Qualcomm Circuit 100 at San Diego. How does that feel?
Yeah, man, it feels good. I finally got one without some mistakes, so that was nice, and kind of been my worst on enemy here lately.
Yeah, well, obviously Ty Bostic not in attendance tonight from his own internet and weather issues, so this is going to be a massive boost in the point standings for you, and I believe Sonoma is also next week, so really you have a shot to once again go back-to-back and really improve the point standings here. Do you think this is a win that could push a statement forward that could really keep you up with that 22 throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, possibly. It's next week's gonna be tough. Obviously, I got to start in the back, so it's gonna be a little tough to get through the field. But looking forward to it. I love Sonoma and the Cup car with the extra horsepower, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that win tonight. Obviously, very long laps around for you to reach the checkered flag again to burn it down, unless you ran out of fuel already. Are you almost out of fuel?
Oh, yeah, I'm out.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I only had about a quarter of a lap extra, so that was the other downside. Felt like most of the race was fuel saving tonight, so that kind of stunk. But, you know, it is what it is. So fun to get a win on this one at least.
Yeah, I can get a love tap here from Marty Calvert, your Fillmore teammate. And with that, you have won again here in the F.U.N Road to Pro Series. Is there anybody you want to shout out tonight for your race win?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Fillmore guys for having me. Always fun running with them. Thanks for Zach putting on the league, all that everybody does for it. And appreciate the broadcast. And I'd like to say hi to my mom, my wife, and my son. So appreciate everything.
All right, congratulations on that dominating race tonight, leading every single lap and winning by a sizable margin. Hopefully we'll see the same thing for you at Sonoma. Until then, have a good rest of your week.
All right, thanks. Talk to you later. See ya.
And now we're going to talk to second, who's already off the racetrack, that being the 81 of William Karin II, who finished pretty far behind, but still finished in second behind Stephen Kirby in the 109. William Karin, how is it going? Finishing second tonight. And, you know, honestly, it seems like you had a pretty good race yourself, but Kirby was just in a league of his own tonight. Do you think there was anything you could have done differently before the race started, during the race, to really catch the 109, or are you content with second place tonight?
He's fast and he's good at saving fuel. I mean, he had me on pace anyways. I was shocked as much as I was having to back it down to make it to the end that he made it without having to back down that much. But it was fun. That's over with, and on to Sonoma to do the same mess again.
Yeah, and despite as you mentioned, the chaos of road courses as they can be with the fuel saving and the other guys just having a lot on their plate to be able to hold on to fuel, you did finish second tonight. Are you going to try to carry this momentum into Sonoma and hopefully look for the same result?
Yeah, I mean, I feel a little more confident at Sonoma. I mean, I don't like road courses in general, but street courses, I didn't really care for Chicago, and I'll be honest with you, after running however many laps we ran around here, I don't really care for this place that much either. I mean, it's fun. It's very long and it's grueling, and it's a workout.
Yeah, workout indeed. I think the most workout part of the entire race, though, was the pace laps. Those things were long, dude. But tell you what, you finished second tonight, held on to that fuel tank, did a great job strategy calling on your part, and congrats on finishing in the silver spot tonight. Is there anybody you want to shout out?
Shout out to Kirby for winning. Obviously, Annie won the Tommy's Dash for Cash. I believe that's 2 weeks in a row. That's over and done with, so look forward to the next in-season tournament. I think that starts next week. So a lot of things going good. Shout out to the league. Shout out to you. Buy some merch. See ya.
Yeah, we love seeing that commercial in the broadcast as well. Make sure to get some merch if you're watching and you're interested. And good talking to you, Mr. Karn. Hopefully we'll see you next week back at Victory Lane, bud.
Yes, sir.
And now we're going to talk to third place tonight. That's going to go to Bryn George in the 45. Also had a good result tonight. If things went a bit differently strategy-wise, he could have won this race, but instead he finishes on the podium in third. Bryn George, it's cartilage up at the booth. You have a copy.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Well, how is it going? You finished third tonight. We were looking at you at the end of this thing, and you had the most fuel out of anybody. We were thinking for a second that you were going to win the race because we were thinking that the front two, Karin and Kirby, had to come down for fuel, but apparently they saved enough, and you still found a way to finish third tonight. Tell you what, you started off the pace. You started from the pits, came forward, passed multiple cars throughout stage one, and then more cars in stage two and the rest of the race, and you find yourself on the podium. How does that one feel?
Amazing race, dude. That was a blast. It was very, very difficult. I was thinking the same thing as you, is that, I wasn't going to save. Somehow they saved all the way until the end, which is crazy, but I wasn't going to save. I was just going to run flat out, and I knew I had to pit, so I came down, took 4, and I was hoping they would just run out and I could steal one, but Kirby, man, he's a demon, but I don't know how he does the stuff he does. He's an alien, but
He's an alien.
man,
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, he's an alien. Like, saving fuel there and also running away with it like that, it's very impressive. And maybe I should start watching his POVs or something, learn a thing or two. But yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, well, tell you what, you did pretty well yourself, and you're going to another road course next week at Sonoma. What's your odds there?
Not my greatest racetrack. I wouldn't expect a podium, to be honest with you. And we're switching to the Cup car. I haven't raced that in a while either, so just hoping for a top 10 next week. I'll be happy if I get top 10.
All right. Well, with that being said, congrats on your podium result. Is there anybody you want to shout out tonight?
Melody, my girlfriend, I love you. Shout out to you. Awesome streamer, man. I love watching your streams.
Thank you.
Shout out to William. I love racing with him. And shout out to Steven winning.
All right. Well, with that being said, congrats on finishing on the podium tonight. Hopefully, we'll see you back in the same position here soon. And until then, have a good rest of your week.
Thank you, man. You too.
All right. Now we're going to talk to fourth place. That's going to be Marty Calvert, who could probably be defined as a what-if night following all the stuff that he had going for him and all the stuff that he could have also prevented that could have put him in a winning spot tonight. Instead, he finishes fourth. We're going to bring him up. Marty Calvert, it's Cartilage up in the booth. You have a copy.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going well. It's a big sigh from you. I was talking about this on the broadcast. It seems like just a big what-if night from you and your race team. Obviously, you had that big incident where you went straight into one of these corners and locked the brakes up right front, straight in the wall, engine blown up, and had to really fight back from that. at the start of stage 2. It happened again, not to the extreme of the first time by, but probably some damage that could have been also prevented as well. But tell you what, despite that, you were actually running down Kirby at the end of this thing. Obviously, you got to also wonder if he was saving fuel, but at the same time, he still had a lot of pace in that machine. You were gone from third. And obviously, if it wasn't for those mistakes, you probably could have been up with the 109 tonight and had a Philmar battle. But instead, you finished fourth. So talk us through your race and how it went for you from your perspective.
Yeah, this will go down as one of the ones you wish you could have a do-over. When we were getting close to the stage break, we said, "Oh, hey, let's start saving fuel and see if we can make it." And I thought I would be cute and take it a little bit further and try to clutch a little bit going into a few corners. And man, when you switch from right foot or left foot to right foot braking in the middle of a race and you haven't practiced it, that's what happens. You hit the wall. So kind of messed myself up there, but I was able to stay on the lead lap, get it back, get it fixed. And then I knew way through the stint after the stage I wasn't going to make it on fuel, so I was getting ready to pit as soon as the window opened up. That way I could hopefully come out and have some clean track to make some time. But everybody else pit right in front of me, right when I was thinking about doing it. So I just stayed on the track, and the track opened up. And then at least let me make a few spots back. So. But yeah, gosh, I felt like the 16 car was good tonight. I could run with Kirby throughout that whole first stage, and if I would have just not had the mistakes, what could have been. But top 5 on a brand new track that was tough to drive, I won't be too upset tonight.
Yeah, and obviously you have Sonoma next week. Do you think that could be more of like a redemption week for you, knowing that we're going back-to-back road course races?
Yeah, I like Sonoma. We did it last year in the Xfinity car. If my memory serves right, I led most of that race, but Greg Stone was the guy to beat that night, and he got by me in the closing lap, so I finished second. And we're taking the Cup car there this year, which I do like on road courses. So, I'm gonna put some work in, and hopefully we can maybe turn out a P1 next week. Did I lose you?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I had the mic off for a second.
Okay.
No, like I said, though, obviously we wish you luck throughout the week, maybe getting some good practice and putting yourself in a scenario to get your win at Sonoma, keep you in the chase conversation, and obviously until then, good talking to you. Congrats on finishing fourth, and have a great week.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the broadcast.
Oh, did I? I don't think I always forget this once every single stream. Do you want to shout out anybody, by the way, for finishing fourth?
Yep. All the fans, family, my lovely wife, my wonderful boys, and everybody else that's watching.
All right. Well, we'll see you around, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, man. See ya.
And last but not least, talking down to fifth place, which is going to go to Zach Ward, league owner, who also had a pretty good race, finished fifth tonight. He was up in the top 3 throughout some of the portions as well, but also had a lot of damage and incidents. Let's go ahead and see what his perspective was throughout tonight's race. And last but not least, Zach Ward. It's Cartilage up in the booth. You have a copy.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? You finished fifth tonight. Tell you what, not as prevalent as Marty Calvert, but it's a very similar situation tonight for you. Just a bunch of what ifs. It seems like multiple times tonight you just got a bit of damage off of some corners, off of some entries, how tight this track is, how new this track is, and obviously finishing top 5, but I'm sure you could have also been thinking in the back of your mind what it could have been if that did not happen. But obviously, talk us to your race and how it went from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have had anything for Kirby. Overall happy with the top 5, but definitely frustrated. I knocked the toe out on the left front on the first corner, first lap. And then on the first green flag stop in the first stage, I buzzed the tires coming off pit road and then knocked the toe out on the right side. So spent the rest of the race with a pretty decent amount of damage and was able to salvage a 5th place. So I mean, overall good points night. I know I'm going to lose some to to Kirby, but I mean, we should be inching a little bit closer to tie. So just ready to get back on an oval.
Yeah, and obviously you're gonna have to wait at least one more week for that to happen at Sonoma. Do you have any luck in your mind over there?
I mean, I feel pretty solid at Sonoma. I mean, I have historically been pretty decent there. I don't think I'll have winning pace, but if I can, just salvage stage points in another top 5, I mean, I'd be ecstatic going into the off week, and then we got a nice little run of ovals to close out the regular season. So just kind of get what I can next week.
All right. Well, with that being said, finishing 5th tonight, congratulations on your top 5. Is there anybody you want to shout out following tonight's event?
Yeah, just shout out to my family, watching every week. Appreciate them, love them. Shout out you for the broadcast you put on, and shout out to 11624.
All right. With that being said, good talking to you as always. Hopefully we'll see a few spots higher next week and beyond. And until then, have a good week.
Sounds good. You too, man. Appreciate it.
And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our broadcast here tonight on the R2R Broadcast Network. Final results here from the Qualcomm 100. I don't think this one works, so we're not going to do it. But Stephen Kirby, William Carran, Britton George, Marty Calvert, and Zach Ward, your top 5. Baldassar Green, Mormon Fiedler, and Ledger, your top 10. Stephen Kirby dominated tonight, winning the race and leading all 30 laps. My name is Zachariah Carlos. We'll see you next Monday night for Side Draft Racing League, and next Tuesday night for the New Smyrna Speedway iRacing Series, and of course, next Wednesday night for the Full Send Cup Series, and next Thursday night for more fun Verta Pro Series action. We'll see you around. Good night.